Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Rufai, Troublemaker. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning to all our viewers out there. We start with oil, of course, actually falling slightly in early trading this morning, and there's just to keep up with the news cycle. So Brent crude 75.11, West Texas actually came down, natural gas came down, but there's a mix here between China announcing tariffs and US announcing a reprieve, but we'll get into it. Precious metals. Gold actually came down slightly off its highs, 2,847, down about 36 basis points. Silver down, copper was up, platinum was up, so a bit of a mix there. The Asian markets, China is still, I think the lunar year ends for them, the holiday ends tomorrow, so Chinese markets will be back tomorrow, but we did see a rebound in Asian markets, bit of a divergence from where US markets ended, but that's because of the announcement of the reprieve for Canada and Mexico. So Kospi, Hang Seng, Nikkei, Nifty in India, all climbing this early trading this morning. From there, so the announcement, of course, that essentially Mexico and Canada would be getting a reprieve from the tariffs that were announced by Donald Trump for at least 30 days. Mexico is going to send 10,000 troops to the southern border. Canada, not really much of a clarification there. Canada likely will send 10,000 border troops to the north. Canada will announce a fentanyl czar and a number of other things. So, Trump was talking about deficits, but now it looks like this is a border issue again. Anyway, they both spoke to him. Now, there's Jay Poloski is the head of TPW Advisors. They are financial advisors over in the US. He mentioned the fact that the whole point of this is Trump needing money to fund the tax cuts that he wants to extend from 2017 through to beyond 2025. And then he did mention that China has now seen what's going on and will act, and that's actually what happened later on this morning. Well, here's Mr. Poloski speaking on Bloomberg.
Three keys as we see it. First, we think these tariffs are going to stick. Okay? Trump needs money. This is a money grab, period, to fund the tax cuts. These are going to stick, but there's going to be a furor around them, right? As you just pointed out. Growth down, inflation up. So this is probably it for tariffs. Not going to have any more bigger ones, additional ones, in my view. And secondly, China now knows what's going to happen, so it can act.
And then, so China did act. So they did announce that early in the morning. China's Ministry of Finance did say that, okay, there's going to be retaliatory tariffs effective February the 10th, which is, of course, to give a little bit of an off-ramp to allow negotiations. Trump says he's going to talk to Xi Jinping at some point. So 10% on oil and agri machinery coming from the U.S., 15% on coal and LNG. U.S., of course, is one of the top exporters of liquefied natural gas. They're also going to put export controls on tungsten. Tungsten is this very high-density mineral that is used for solar panels, chips, and so on and so forth. And then in that announcement, there's going to be an antitrust probe of Google. But I mean, to what effect? Google has a very, minuscule market share over in China. So, who knows? This is possibly to allow for negotiations between the two parties. The U.S. markets, they actually, when they opened, the futures were pointing to the fact that there would be a big drop. But I think they came off their session lows yesterday. Because at some point, the S&P 500, I think, was down almost 2%. But then, as Trump now announced that there would be a reprieve of those tariffs, they kind of eased, but they still fell. The automotive sector was hit pretty hard. General Motors fell, I think, about 5%. Tesla fell, 3%. Tesla fell about 5%. Ford fell almost 2% because it's been said that there'll be about, likely estimated $3,000 increase in purchasing cars because so many of them come from Mexico and Canada. And then this is just for 30 days. So what happens after the 30 days? Do they go away? I think we're done with the U.S. Just to continue the electricity conversation that we had yesterday. So Olu Verheijen, special advisor to President Tinubu on energy, put out the lengthy tweets clarifying, I think, what led to that Daily Trust headline about tariffs going up by 65%. He said, no, that's not what I said. He said that tariffs currently cover 65% of electricity supply costs and that the government is still subsidizing the difference. That comes out to about 200 billion naira per month. So in 5 months, you're spending $1 trillion. In a year, you're looking at over 2 trillion on subsidies. And the wealthiest are benefiting, the wealthiest 25% of Nigerians, even where things are now, are the top beneficiaries of the existing subsidies now. So they want to move to targeted subsidies that will target most folks on the low income scale so they can benefit the most. Also said government is committed to fair pricing. On that note, with respect to fair pricing, she continued and said that they are looking to roll out about 7 million meters through this year. It's under the Presidential Metering Initiative. They want to end estimated billing. They're going to be removing VAT on compressed natural gas and LPG, also removing custom duties on both of those in order to reduce costs for those at the lower income scale. So that's pretty much our update for today.
At least, I look me in the eye when I'm saying this. Olu Verheijen has clarified that we are not having tariffs up anytime soon because it will have been ridiculous, it will have been painful in lots of people and all of that. So I understand the grounds of free market capital, but I want to talk a lot about Trump today. And that's it. So those that voted him thinking he was going to change the life of middle class, no. He's going to make the rich richer. And that's what mostly the Republicans always do. And that's why I'm sorry. I hardly agree with any Republican government because I don't believe in trickle-down economics. I believe you must have targeted programs towards the middle-class people like the Democrats do. Look at the things we are talking about today. USAID was the Democratic government of Kennedy. Probably the only outlier in recent time was President Bush that did PEPFAR.
Right.
It was a targeted program in other parts of the world. But mostly, the Republicans believe in trickle-down economics. What you are seeing him do with all of this tariff, like Ploy said, they're trying to raise money to be able to fund his tax cuts, which is a subsidy for the wealthy.
Yep.
Why are you subsidizing the wealthy? The other day, I think it was the sage of Omaha, Nebraska himself, Warren Buffett, that said he felt a lot of pity that in marginal taxes, his secretary was paying marginal taxes more than him, that he was a billionaire. So you cannot allow this continue. And all of this Trump is doing, this tariff bullying tactics, pretty much goes back to all the tricks he wrote about in The Art of a Deal. And that's why, see, when somebody tells you who they are, believe them.
Yep.
Because that's truly who they are. And he will continue to do all of this. The question is, who's next is he going to slam? He doesn't feel good with you, he's going to slam you with those taxes. The other day, somebody asked him about all of these tariffs. He said, are you going to slam Italy with this tariff? He said, no, I like Giorgio Meloni. So I'm not going to slam her.
It's based on feelings.
It's based on feelings. Probably he's never going to slam his Apuera friend.
Right.
Yeah, Milei of Argentina. Yeah. He's never going to slam them. And this is not the way to go forward in a multilateral world. Anyway, the word multilateralism now has been dumped in the trash bin because of Trump.
Yep.
He's protectionist. He believes in America first every time. And this is not good for the world. This is not good for the world. And he should stop the lies. Just like he was lying in a tweet that there are no American banks in Canada. And people called him out. A president that lies.
All right, let me go to Olu Verheijen's ex-post because I think it's very important. The same way that a lot of noise was made around a 65%, potential 65% tariff increase in electricity cost, is also important to make a lot of noise about this. A lot of Nigerians were quite apprehensive by that potential increase, and we talked about, and that's why we had our conversation yesterday was dominated by that. A lot of people had a lot to say. I understand your perspective and point of view that we need to pay cost-reflective tariffs so as to be able to attract investment into that sector. And also our point of view that, yes, we agree with that in the long term we have to, but you have to also consider the impact on the most vulnerable of people. And that's what she actually addressed in her ex-post, in addition to a few other things. I'm a bit concerned that this rollout of 7 million prepaid meters has been on since the Buhari administration with regards to this presidential metering initiative. What I would like to know is what has changed and how would they make this more effective? This promise of paying billing, of doing away with estimated billing has been said again and again without a lot done. We've had a lot of challenges with, metering houses. I wonder what would be done differently. I hope that she can possibly explain that and see how this would be rolled out in phases, what would be done, differently. That's my concern. The second part of it is this talk around 25% subsidy that is still being paid, and that the richest in society are the ones who benefit most from it, and that they're going to find a way to adjust their process to ensure that their model to ensure that they are now able to pay. My concern with this, Rotus, is always, of course, for businesses, small and medium-scale enterprises. How are they going to identify these, the richest? Is it going to be by location? Is it going to be by consumption? Is it going to be by those already in Band A, who some people say they want to leave Band A because even for them, it was a bit hellish. So yeah. I think it'll be interesting to find out how that's going to work. Because if it's like, okay, all the people in this area in Lekki, would that also affect the businesses that run in that area to pay, for subsidy to be removed? It's going to impact their businesses gravely. So maybe to really think about that. Then how are we going to long-term address this issue of the government subsidizing electricity for everybody? Right. One of the things that we talked about, and I think we can learn from the subsidy removal from petrol, from PMS, a phased approach. And also, like I said to you earlier, that an opportunity to ensure that you're able to provide infrastructure to meet the gaps. What has happened, and that's why a lot of people have complained a lot, is that there's a lot of increase in tariffs without a commensurate or, a responsibility by the government to demonstrate commitment by providing infrastructure and ensuring that people are able to cushion the effect of these increases. I hope we can learn from the fuel subsidy, the way it was badly handled, and manage this better. Let's have a timeline. Let's have a plan. Because, as you rightly said, we cannot continue to pay subsidy forever on electricity for the Nigerian people. We have to find a way to do that. But, I'm glad that she was able to address all this and clear the air on that. I'm relieved that people don't have to add the burden of 65% increase on electricity tariff in addition to all the burdens that we have to face in recent times.
Okay, let me stay with Trump. I said earlier on during the segment with Adefemi Akinsoye about who won, who lost. Yeah. Now, after Trump decided to pause the tariff war, the tariff increase against Mexico and Canada, Asian stocks rose. Yeah. On Monday, they traded lower. But tech stocks, in particular, from South Korea to Japan, to Hong Kong, did very well. They advanced. Now we've been told that President Trump is going to have a conversation with President Xi Jinping. And the Chinese, they've now imposed tariffs, 15%, 10%, in a retaliatory manner, which was a major development this morning. But I think if you look at the geopolitical side of it, the big problem is the uncertainty that Trump has created. The way in which he has upended his own neighbors, Mexico and Canada, is likely to cast a cloud of uncertainty in the market. Now, businesses now will be reluctant to trust the American market. They will be waiting to see how this whole war plays out after 30 days before they can make critical investment decisions. In other words, Trump being a transactional leader that cannot be trusted in his own backyard, is a problem, even for America and for American businesses. So it's both ways in terms of winning and losing. But at least Trump has been able to claim credit as a messiah to say that this is all about America first. Yeah. Now, is there an advantage for China? I think so. China may have announced some tariffs, this morning to take effect February 10. But you see that China has not been very aggressive. Right. Apart from saying they will go to WTO and then reacting this morning with this announcement, China has been positioning itself diplomatically as a country that can be trusted. Yep, exactly. So that those countries, those allies, partners that cannot trust America, that are doubtful of Trump's America, can move in their direction. And I think that this is a very strategic move by the Chinese in this particular matter. The second thing that has happened is President Trump moving further, now saying he signed an executive order yesterday creating saying they will create a sovereign fund for the United States in the next 1 year. Now, the details are not clear yet. The Treasury Secretary, Bennett, Scott Bessent, is saying that, they will sell some assets of the United States. But the United States is running on a very huge budget deficit.
Right.
So where is that money going to come from that you want to save for the future? And he's saying that, if they're able to get that sovereign wealth fund out of the way, then America will just use the sovereign wealth fund to buy TikTok.
That's the first thing you mentioned.
Yeah, TikTok. But how practical is that?
Yeah, exactly.
It remains to be seen.
So
but when the Trump era, and you find him not just fighting in his region, all the steps that he has taken within 2 weeks have been against his immediate neighbors.
Yeah.
Now he's threatening to go after the EU.
Yeah.
Macron and others are saying, well, if he comes after the EU, they will stand firm and they will also retaliate. But I guess, as I've argued elsewhere, that what he's really looking for is to renegotiate with the world. But China is poised to lead that alternate world order, which may also be a possibility. Yeah. So perhaps we're not completely at the mercy of the United States and Donald Trump and Elon Musk, who seems to have created a fourth branch of the government in the United States.